Let's move to the final pick for the Gamecocks in this 2021 NFL draft, Rob, and that is Israel Mukuamu, 6th round, 227th overall to the Dallas Cowboys. And I want to read off what you said about that pick and what you said about Izzy. Ridiculous length for a corner, could be a safety. Ball skills are pretty sweet and has loose hips for his size. Better in zone, feet and balance issue in man. Not the twitchiest and has speed concerns. Cowboys embracing long Seahawky cornerbacks. And you've gave the grade a B. And I agree with your assessment, by the way. Again, I talked about J.C. Horn's career in Columbia. And listen, fans are tough, especially on defensive backs. And Israel Mukuamu is no exception to that. There were, great highlight moments where, 3 interceptions against Jake Fromm. Really, that was the game that put him on the map, that 3-pick day in Athens. And there were other times you watched Israel Mukuamu and you're like, maybe he should have come back for another year. Could he have used another year development in college? But either way, he goes 6th round pick to the Cowboys. Talk about this pick. Again, you just don't find a lot of defensive backs built like Israel Mukuamu, 6'4". And I think I heard him talking on the ESPN coverage. I mean, he's got the arm length of an offensive lineman. Like this dude he is the definition of long. He's the definition of length. What do you see in Israel Mukuamu, the pick overall, the fit to the Cowboys, and how do you see him projecting? Because, again, I think he's such an interesting prospect with just his size alone.
So I thought he might go a little bit earlier than the 6th round, mainly because, again, you don't find corners that are 6'4". Like it's hard to find corners that are 6'2". 6'4" is insane. And if you look at his 10 best plays in his South Carolina career, you think this is a dude.
Right.
His Georgia game is
ridiculous.
The game that you get really excited about. But
that was probably the most dominating performance from a Gamecocks defender I've seen since Jadeveon Clowney. I mean, where he single-handedly just took over the football game.
And I remember draft Twitter being a buzz when that happened because, again, you get excited when you see a 6'4" corner making those types of plays.
And like you said, he has that. He moves like a 6-foot corner. Doesn't move like, yeah.
That's kind of the big plus with him is a lot of the time when you find a corner that long, their big issue is they're really tight. He's loose. He's got smooth hips for a 6'4" corner. He's got really good ball skills. He is at his best in zone where he's not needing to rely nearly as much on clean footwork and closing speed because he's not the twitchiest athlete. He's a smooth athlete, but he's not J.C. Horn twitchy with that click and close. I really like that he ended up in Dallas. Dallas clearly went into this draft wanting to address defense. They brought Dan Quinn in as defensive coordinator, who was the Seahawks defensive coordinator about a decade ago. And in Seattle, they obviously made the trend of getting these huge corners. They had Richard Sherman. They had Brandon Browner. So they go into this draft. They draft 3 corners, and they already had Trevon Diggs on the roster. They draft Kelvin Joseph from Kentucky, SEC guy. They draft Nashawn Wright from Oregon State, who's also 6'4", and then they draft Israel. That's 2 6'4" corners in one draft, which is crazy. And a good thing about this is I think he'll have the opportunity to really take his time and develop and work on the technique because in this scheme, if he is going to succeed, it would be in this heavy cover 1, cover 3 scheme. He is at his best in cover 3 when he can just sit back, keep his eyes on the quarterback, and play the ball. The other thing I am wondering is if they drafted him with the thought that he could be a safety, because he's fluid enough and rangy enough, and with that size, when he can just sit back, be patient, and keep his eyes on the quarterback, he's at his best. So if that's the plan, that would make a lot of sense to me because they didn't really address their safety need in this class, and they drafted 2 corners before him. So I'm wondering if that's kind of the plan with him.